Spider-Man and Batman, two of the most iconic superheroes in the entirety of comic book history and in just media in general. And obviously, one of them is a lighthearted, wisecracking web-slinger who swings through the bustling streets of New York, while the other one is a more brooding tactical vigilante who strikes fear into the criminals of Gotham. On the surface, they seem like total opposites, but if you dig deeper, you'll see why these two would not only absolutely love each other in a platonic way, but truly have such a profound respect for each other that it would be an absolute understatement to say that they would get along. The differences between them would not drive them apart, and it would actively make them work so much better together. So, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm just going to be basically breaking down why I think these two characters would absolutely love each other. But with all that said and done, let's get into the video. So, if we're just starting off with like one of the first points that I want to make, and it's just going to be talking about the fact that they both have a very big shared sense of responsibility. At their core, both Spider-Man and Batman are defined by one thing: tragedy. So Peter Parker lost Uncle Ben due to his own inaction, while Bruce Wayne saw his parents gunned down before his own eyes as a child. These moments shaped them into the heroes that they became, instilling in both of them a sense of unshakable duty that they have been living for ever since. Both of them live on a similar principle: help those who can't help themselves no matter the cost. Peter obviously follows Uncle Ben's famous words, with great power comes great responsibility, while Batman ensures that what happened to him as a child never happens to anybody else whatsoever. Their shared mission would really create an instant mutual respect between them, especially depending on what age we have Peter being set as when he's meeting Batman or just talking to Batman in general. Obviously, I don't really think that it's going to really matter whatever age, because no matter what age, they're still going to get along with each other, just for very different reasons depending on the time. But no matter what, they will still respect each other. Like, continuing on, like as I said, like this mutual respect, absolutely amazing between them, and even their work ethic also is similar. Neither of them gets much sleep, and both of them push their bodies and minds to the absolute limit. Both of them have quite literally almost been an extremely excessive commitment on their specific cause that they have, specifically, being Spider-Man or being Batman, and have sacrificed loved ones, relationships, every singular thing that they have to give for this specific feeling and for the cause of being a hero, because they know if they're not there, so many things could actively happen. They don't do this for the glory. They don't do this for the recognition. They do this because they feel like they have to. This shared burden between both of them would really bond them in a way that few others can honestly understand in the way that they actively live their life. And it would just be a very interesting dynamic to see them actively have in general. And speaking of like just very interesting dynamics, it's really an also interesting dynamic of the mentor student kind of dynamic that could possibly foster between these two, because obviously we know Batman is a master strategist, detective, combatant, while Spider-Man relies on his agility, quick thinking, and raw talent. If they ever teamed up, Bruce would likely take Peter under his wing, because Peter isn't just capable, we already know he's capable, but Batman just has so much, honestly, great teaching strengths in terms of Peter being already like very similar to somebody like Dick Grayson. So Batman already has very decent experience to teach Peter off of to help him actively learn and grow. And Bruce could teach Peter, discipline, stealth, strategy, refining his crime fighting skills beyond his usual improvisation approach or whatever. And he'd teach Spidey how to think 5 steps ahead, how to analyze the crime scene like a detective, and how to use fear to his advantage in any circumstance. And also, on the other hand, Peter could also remind Bruce of something that he often forgets: hope and humor. Spidey's lighthearted nature would really help Bruce find that joy even in the darkest situations that Bruce usually doesn't have, and make Bruce realize that being a hero doesn't always have to be about suffering or whatever. And Bruce also might not admit it, but deep down he'd probably appreciate Peter's optimism. And even if we flip the situation around, because I got a comment on something like this, and I wanted to just like kind of talk about this slightly before I maybe made a video making an entire discussion on this alone, on the situation of the roles being reversed, the situations of we have a young Bruce Wayne like after his parents are dead, and we have like a Peter B. Parker kind of situation where it is a completely grown Peter coming into the situation, and Bruce Wayne's the younger variant. This would be such a very interesting dynamic to see, simply due to the fact of Peter knows how to deal with struggle. He knows how to deal with pain. He knows how to deal with loss. So having Peter be the kind of person to raise Bruce or teach Bruce things on his own end would be such an interesting dynamic to see, strictly due to the fact that this would most likely make a very different version of Bruce. Obviously, maybe still probably making the Batman, but just kind of doing it in such a very different way due to the fact that Bruce would most likely spend a lot more time focusing on the agility section and having a lot more like just agility in terms of like any specific movement or whatever, just due to being trained by somebody like Peter. But that would just be scenario in my head that I could possibly think of so many different ways if I had full time to just dive into that specific idea alone. So you guys could just tell me in the comment section below if you guys would want me to dive fully into that. But, just kind of continuing on, we do have to talk about the fact that they do different methods, but they kind of have the exact same goal. Because if we're starting off with like talking about Batman, we know he operates in the shadows, using fear as a tool, while Spider-Man, on the other hand, uses like a more open, engaging with the public approach, bringing his sense of humor and a lot of his more personality into the scene. Like, they fight crime in very different ways. But in the end, their goal is the exact same: protecting the innocent no matter what. While Batman terrifies his enemies into submission, and Spider-Man throws them off with relentless quips and unpredictability, the contrast methods in really just between the two would make for a perfect duo, because we've already seen situations like this with Batman and Nightwing alone, so we already know it could work. Batman would be able to handle the intimidation and strategy, while Spider-Man uses his agility, humor, and quick thinking to outmaneuver threats. They would very well complement each other in so many different ways that the only person that could also do it is one of Batman's own sons. And this would just really be one of those situations that just makes it more interesting in general. But this wouldn't obviously be without clashes. Batman might see Peter as reckless and undisciplined, while Peter might view Batman as a little too extreme and emotionally closed off. But over time, I'd honestly see a situation where they would learn from each other, finding a balance between their two approaches and doing a lot of other things in just general like that. But we do have to talk about something else. I made a little remark about this in my video yesterday, but in a situation where Peter Parker, Spider-Man, is in Gotham and Bruce Wayne is any age older than Peter, the 99.99999% possibility is Batman would probably at least try or manage to adopt Spider-Man in some way or another. Because let's be honest, let's be real. Batman has a giant history of collecting wayward, talented young heroes like Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, Duke Fox, Lucius Fox, like Duke Thomas, whatever. We have so many people in the Bat family alone, and he has such a knack for taking them under his wing. If Batman saw us Peter struggling with the burdens of heroism, about it, like balancing school, financial troubles, or any of the situations that goes on with Aunt May, it wouldn't be a stretch to imagine him offering Peter a home in Wayne Manor just due to the kind of person that we know Bruce Wayne already is. And Peter might resist at first. He's used to handling things on his own, but deep down, he'd appreciate having a mentor figure like a Bruce. And obviously, Alfred, he'd absolutely adore Peter's sarcastic sense of humor and making the Batcave a lot more lively because, putting Peter in a Batcave gives him a lot of places to just hang around and just do a lot of off the wall stuff just in general. And Alfred might make and become Peter's new go to for life advice, kind of offering that guidance that Peter has missed since losing Uncle Ben, which is something obviously Alfred is very good at, just giving people life advice and being the kind of center point for the entirety of the Wayne family in general. So I just feel like it would work out fairly well. But I honestly also see a situation of these two working so well together just due to the fact of one, personalities. I've already said would mesh perfectly. It's going to be a very good, perfect partnership, but it would also be a situation where their methods of fighting, everything that they do, would just work so perfectly in terms of working cohesion in general with any of their villains. Whether we're just kind of dealing with them handling each other's villains in one way or another, depending on which world they're actively ending up into. Whether it's Spider-Man fighting Joker, Batman versus the Green Goblin, Peter versus Bane, Batman versus Doc Ock, or Spider-Man versus Scarecrow. There's so many different options that we could possibly think of that would make for interesting stories that literally are just endless. Like, even if we're just specifically talking about Batman versus Green Goblin, you guys could quite literally just go check on to my channel where I literally made like a 54-minute video just talking about what if these two were like actual enemies and Batman and Green Goblin were the kind of replacement instead of Joker existing as Green Goblin in Gotham and in the DC universe. So you guys could check that out and just kind of see exactly how I picture that idea. But if we just want to continue on, as I've already said, these two would have a perfect partnership. If Peter and Spider-Man specifically, and Batman were ever in the same city, their team ups would absolutely be legendary. They would make each other better, and balancing out each other's weaknesses specifically would just make things so much more interesting. Batman would ground Spider-Man, teaching him patience, strategy, and all of these other things, while Spider-Man would remind Bruce that there is still room for hope and joy in the world of heroism. And they obviously might not see eye to eye at any given point in time or like often, but at the end of the day, they would trust each other implicitly. And in the superhero world, that's the foundation. That's the foundation of any great partnership. And that's the main thing that Bruce truly cares about in general, anyways, trust. And there is no better person to trust than Peter Parker Spider Man. So, why would Peter and Bruce absolutely love each other? Obviously, besides and despite their differences, they're kindred spirits. Heroes trapped by tragedy, driven by responsibility, and committed to protecting the innocent. They might clash at first, but over time they'd grow to respect, admire, and even learn from each other. But with all that said, what do you think? Would Spider-Man and Batman make an ultimate dynamic duo? Let me know down in the comment section below, and don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more superhero deep dives or just universal crossovers like this. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.